can never rise, but we also need the Sikhs to fight for us, because we can't actually fight for ourselves. So they start two wars. One, a physical, faceless war, and then another, a psychological one. And then that brings us to cycles of massacre, which I will come to at the end. Cycles of massacre, very important when we talk about the Indian establishment. So the Indian faceless war, the physical faceless war that started from 47, they cut Punjab into three. Half of it had gone to Pakistan anyway, then they cut off and take Haryana and Himachal Pradesh. We're made smaller and weaker. Punjabi is the only language that is not recognized in the Indian Union. Why? Because even the concept of Punjabi language they see as a unification where we can somehow grow stronger. They don't want Punjabi language. It doesn't exist. They take our water, they take our electricity, they take our grain and our crops. But a lot of the Punjabis at the time didn't even realize that this was happening. Sure, there were protests, but the cleverness of the Indian establishment, because we always ask ourselves, if we were being robbed from day one, if we were being worked against from day one, just like we weren't recognized in the Indian Constitution, our very faith, Article 25, our very faith isn't even recognized, why would we go on their borders and fight for them? This is where the psychological war comes in. In the schools after 47, in Punjab, they're taught Hindi before Punjabi. They're taught to salute the Taranga before the Nishan Sahib. They're taught to say Jai Mata Di before Raj Karega Khalsa. And then they tell all the Sikhs in Punjab, you are our brave sons. How would India exist without you? You rescued our women from the clutches of the Mughals. Your Guru gave his life for us. Kartar Singh Sarabha, Bhagat Singh, Udham Singh, they gave their life for Indian independence. 90% of the sacrifices for independence came from you. You are our brave sons. And we think, you know what? We are your brave sons. Let's go on the border and fight for you. We'll show you how brave we can be. So in the Mukti Bahini movement, in the war against Pakistan, again, dazzling performances from the Sikhs. They bring the enemies of India to their knees. But then they start thinking, hang on, there's nothing left in Punjab. The water's dirty. We can't put our own price on our own grain. We can't put our own price on our own crops. We can't go to different states to sell our produce. Why do we have electric cuts? Electricity is made in Punjab. Why is it when we have an issue and we protest, we get shot at? And then there's one man who rejects the psychological war of becoming a slave of India, a compliant slave, Sant Jarnail Singh Khalsa Pindranwale. He starts giving rise to these problems. And he awakens people like you guys who are sitting here today. Punjab is being robbed, it's being looted, wake up. And people begin to wake up. So the Indian establishment started thinking, hang on, forget this faceless war now. We're going to need to bring our tanks, our jet bombers, our guns. We're going to have to mobilize our whole army, because they're no longer accepting this psychological war, that they're the brave sons of India. They're starting to see themselves as the brave sons and daughters of Guru Granth Sahib. We can't have that. And the result is what's already been described, the desecration of Harmandir Sahib. 4,000 lives lost in Delhi afterwards. And then for the next 10, 15 years, they lock off Punjab and seal it and have their fascist, wicked, sadistic way with our people. They make the rape, girls like you are here today, they make your rape legal in Operation Shuddhikaran. The rape of a Sikh woman was made legal from 84 to 95. They have laws in place called the National Security Act, where guys like you with Ramaz and Pagga and Gatre, they describe you as terrorists, and when they describe you as terrorists, they say their right to life can be suspended. Under this act, the right to life can be suspended. What that means is you could be killed if you're suspected of terrorism. Killed. In this manner, they executed close to 150,000 of our people. 150,000. Look at a football ground, times it by 5, that's how many people we've lost. Whole generations gone, wiped out, finished. Then somebody like Bhai Balwant Singh Rajoana and Bhai Dilawar Singh, they bring an end to this massacre by getting rid of Byanta, who was an incarnation of this establishment, who made the rape of Sikh women and the murder of Sikh men and the destruction of our Gurdwara illegal. They get rid of him. So it's predominantly known that after 95, after Byanta's been killed, that the bullets stop firing, and they do. Ask any of your parents who've been to India from 95 onwards. There's no police there. There's no military checkpoints. Harmandir Sahib is standing beautiful. The Akal Takht is standing beautiful. No one's being harassed. No one's pagga's been taken off. It must mean that peace has been restored. But this is when I talk about cycles of massacre. The Indian establishment think that we now live in an age where we've signed up to UN conventions. We're seen as the third largest democracy, and we live in an era where everyone has a mobile phone, there's media everywhere. We can't carry on killing these people, because then we will be seen as a regime of Saddam Hussein, Pol Pot, Milosevic. We need to be seen as a democracy. And the other important thing is that bullets are expensive and Sikh lives are worthless. You can go to prison in India if you kill a cow. Killing a Sikh in India is not a problem. But they don't want to waste bullets on us anymore. So they think, why don't we start killing off these Sikhs and save money? How do they do this? Now this is when I talk about a faceless war. We go back to faceless war. Punjab, as we stand today, female feticide is one of the worst problems in Punjab. This is one facet of a faceless war. This is not me saying it. BBC News this year uncovered that in a small town in Patiala, this is just a small case, they found a 30-foot well where there were 50 female fetuses in that well. There's illegal abortion clinics and illegal ultrasound clinics littered all across Punjab. We have the most amount in India. India is the worst country in the world for female feticide, getting rid of girls before they're born. Punjab is the worst state in India for getting rid of girls before they're born. And ironically and tragically, Fatehgarh Sahib, where the two Chote Sahibja, they gave the Shahidi for justice and freedom and Sikhi, is the worst district in Punjab for female feticide. The problem has become so bad that the BBC News have reported that Punjab has the lowest sex ratio in the whole of India. For every 1,000 boys, there's 700 girls. Now we look at why. Before, and I was speaking to a brother of mine who I met downstairs, he's from Gurdaspur. He comes from a district where between 84 and 95, when the physical war was going on, not one single young man was left. They literally grabbed every 15 to 30-year-old out of their house and killed them. The legacy of that was, you couldn't find a girl to marry a young man in Gurdaspur because there was none left. That's what they've done to our lads. We come to this faceless war on female feticide. They're getting rid of our girls now before they're born. And this sex ratio, for every 1,000 boys, there's 700 girls. So when those guys have to get married, who do they marry when there's no Sikh girls around? Hindu girls, Christian girls, Buddhist girls. More dilution of our religion. Another step into eroding our very identity. Now we could even argue that the buck stops with the family, or the woman who's going to abort the child. She's the one who's making the decision. But the question is, why do we have the most amount of illegal abortion clinics and ultrasound clinics in Punjab? BBC News is saying this. They're saying that the state-sponsored doctors who have no qualifications, who are getting rid of Punjabi girls. That's a massacre that we don't even know about. A faceless war. Another aspect of a faceless war. Farmer suicide. We've all got chache, tae, mame back home. They're all farmers. But do we look into their life, into their existence? Now this was talked about in the 80s, and Bhai Balwant Singh Rajoana has talked about this in his letters. The problem is so bad that the state had to concede that we have a problem of farmer suicide. So they done a small, minuscule study. They found that in Batinda and Sangrur, two districts in Punjab, that between 2002 and 2006, 132 farmers had committed suicide. This created uproar. So Punjab's Agricultural University's Economics Department, they done the same study. They found that in that year, 3,000 farmers had committed suicide. But then the movement against state repression and the Farmers Commission, they did their own study on a larger scale. And their findings were that from 1988 to the present day, 2,000 Sikh Punjabi farmers have committed suicide every year. That's nearly 40,000 Sikhs dead without a single bullet being fired. Not one bullet has been fired. Again, we can argue that the buck stops with the farmer, with the Sikh Punjabi farmer. He's the one who sees a buck, puts a rope around it and hangs himself. But what kind of situation is he being put in that he has to commit suicide? To this day, farmers in Punjab, our Sikh Punjabi farmers, aren't allowed to put a price on their own grain or crops. They are not allowed to cross borders, state borders, to sell their produce. They are being forced to rely entirely on agriculture. But there's no water. There's 71,000 crore investment from outside, from the government, into different parts of the state, different states. Yet there's only 1,000 crore investment into Punjab's agriculture. They take loans out to try and get some kind of produce. They can't pay the loans back and they commit suicide. This is what I call a faceless war. 40,000 dead, not a bullet being fired, and we don't even know about them. The latest case by Moor Singh, March, the same month that Jaspal Singh got shaheed, 53 years old, my dad's age, got a rope, hung himself on the pakka, and there he was, dead. His wife thought the only breadwinner's gone. She commits suicide as well, and their children are orphans. They're the orphans of our history. That's a faceless war. Let's look a bit. I could stand here for hours and talk about what's happened with the farmers. But let's move on a bit about water. Another faceless war. Punjab's water has become cancerous. We're digging further and further into the ground, almost 100 feet, and we're finding dirty water. We are the land, or used to be the land. We are the land of 5 rivers, yet we're running dry. We've become the land of 2 rivers now. Even those 2 rivers are being polluted. Neighboring states like Haryana and Himachal, they dump their toxic waste without treating it into those 2 rivers. Those 2 rivers run along Punjab. That water is being used to irrigate our crops. So not only is the water cancerous, but the crops are now, because the water is being used to irrigate it. Cancer research, who can argue with cancer research? They've gone into Punjab and they've said in an area called Malwa, every 3rd person is suffering from cancer. Every 3rd person. Throat cancer, mouth cancer, lung cancer, eye cancer. But the government decide that we're not going to do anything about it because we're getting rid of Sikhs and Punjabis without wasting any money. Another reason why they don't do anything about this, and this is the conniving, devilish nature of the Indian establishment, because people who suffer from cancer have to buy medicine. Where do they buy their medicine from? State-run and owned pharmacies. Not only do we die of cancer, but they make money from that misery. They refuse, even in Parliament when this was tabled, to accept that there's a cancerous problem in Punjab. Cancer research can say there's a problem, but the Indian establishment refused to recognize this. Another facet of a faceless war. Now, let's look at intoxicants. We've already mentioned something about intoxicants. Intoxicants have become the 6th river in Punjab. Narcotics, drugs, and alcohol. I'm not saying this. The New York Times went to Punjab because there's been mass information that's been proliferated throughout the world that Punjab seems to be a place where everybody is hooked on something. So the New York Times go to visit Punjab. They find that 70% of Punjab's males are hooked on narcotics. 70%. They find that every third male student is hooked. Every third male student is hooked on narcotics, and every 10th female student is hooked on narcotics. Again, we could say the buck stops with the people. They're the ones who take the drugs. But we have to look at this. The border security force stand between us and Pakistan, stand between Punjab and Pakistan. Not a leaf can move on the border without the border security force knowing about it. It's one of the hotly contested borders in the world. Yet 350 packets of heroin pass that border every single day. 350 packets. The more affluent Punjabis, Sikh Punjabis, they can afford heroin, they can afford smack. The poor ones are hooked on synthetic drugs. These synthetic drugs are drugs that are used on cattle, on majah, on buffaloes. When they fail, when they've got illnesses, this is the kind of drugs they're hooked on. Synthetic drugs. Even things like Vicks are banned in certain pens because the youngsters are becoming hooked on them. Now we have to ask why. Because if you can get every Punjabi Sikh on drugs in Punjab, which is the way it's going now, we've seen when we go back home, opium, weed is grown freely. I don't see that in any other state. Even school children have little black balls of weed before they go into class. The New York Times say, as small little children crouched in dark little shadows, taking black balls of weed before they go into class. The reason why they want this is because if everybody is hooked on drugs and intoxicants, they don't think about their downtrodden status. They don't think about Article 25. They don't think about a resolution to our water disputes. They don't think about how our electricity is being robbed. They don't think about Bible one thing, rajoana is going to get hung and for what. All they can think about is where am I going to get the next fix from. There's a place called Makbulpura, and it rests in the middle of Amritsar, our holy status, founded by Guru Ram Das Ji. That village is called the village of widows. 90% of the men there are dead. Makbulpura is called the village of widows because they were all hooked on narcotics. Some die of HIV, some die of overdoses, some die of tuberculosis. Dead. In Delhi, this place is called the Widows' Colony, where the Hindus went and they rampaged the whole village and finished off every Sikh and every Sikh girl, every Sikh guy they could, and they're called widow colonies. Now we've got different widow colonies now because of intoxicants. Indian Express themselves have said that every fourth male is on drugs. No one's doing anything about it. Let's just quickly look at liquor, alcohol. Between 2005 and 2009, the alcohol consumption in Punjab has risen by 59%. We are the biggest alcohol consuming state in India. There's a new documentary made by Hindus, it's called the Glut of Punjab. They argue that Punjab is the highest alcohol consuming state in the world. 25 crore in 1 year. There's 8,000 government-owned liquor stores in Punjab. There's more liquor stores owned by the government than there are government schools. Why? Why do we have more liquor stores than schools? Let's drown them out. Let's finish off their family bases. Let's just kill them off with liquor. Everybody is hooked on narcotics. Everybody is hooked on liquor. Again, we can argue it's the Punjabi people that inject themselves with dirty syringes. It's the Punjabi bandit that grab a glassy and have it at night. No one, the Indian establishment don't pick up the bottle and shove it down their mouth. But these studies have shown that all these guys who are hooked on narcotics, are hooked on liquor, they are poor, unemployed and uneducated. Every single one. So I'll look at another facet of a faceless war. Punjab has no outside investment, has no investment from the center, nothing. There is no high-tech industry in Punjab. There's no IT call centers. The universities are non-existent. So these guys who are hooked on drugs, who are hooked on alcohol, it is because Punjab has been destroyed. Now, do you need any better example than to look into your own town? A few months back, one of the channels showed illegal immigrants, our brothers who come from Punjab, sleeping under a bridge and catching diseases. They ran, swam, jumped, dodged borders, dodged bullets, and came to England. Yet they're sleeping under a bridge with no water, no food, no clothing, and they're catching diseases under that bridge. They'd rather be under that bridge than Punjab. What does that say about the state of Punjab? How bad is Punjab that these people are willing to do that? And just to compound that, I'd like to ask you guys, have you ever come across an illegal immigrant from India that's from Calcutta, Bombay, Delhi? They come in suits and ties. They come in air-conditioned airplanes. You know why? Because they transfer from one business to another, one company to another. They have plenty of investment. They don't even need to move. They better their careers by coming here. Our Punjabi Munde are forced to run, swim, jump to come to this country and sleep under bridges because Punjab is literally finished. An economic study has said that if we don't reverse what is happening in Punjab today, it will become desert land. No crop will grow, no child will grow. A geographical nucleus of Sikhi Punjab will be finished. It will cease to exist. That's an economic study. And then I look at these cycles of massacre and bring it back home to recent events. Jaspal Singh. Jaspal Singh, an 18-year-old engineering student, didn't become a victim of that faceless war. He went to college and he tried to educate himself. He didn't become a victim of these fake babbe. He became a Gursikh. He didn't become a victim of the intoxicants. He had elevated status. He had an elevated way of thinking. So what do they do in these cycles of massacre? Every so often, they'll poke Punjab. They'll prod the Sikhs. And they want to know how much Sikhi is left in Punjab. So they'll get somebody like Asutosh to insult Sikhi. They'll get somebody like Ram Rahim to dress up as Guru Gobind Singh and replicate the Amrit Sanchar. They'll want to hang a diamond, a dear brother of ours, by Balwant Singh Rajoana. And they want to see, let's see how many people protest. Let's see how many people are in the front. Let's see how much Sikhi is left. And then those people become the victims of bullets. And Jaspal Singh is there before our very eyes. The only son of that family dead. Cycles of massacre. Faceless war from 47 all the way up until 78. Santaji refuses to accept that compliant slavery, refuses to accept that psychological war that they're playing with us, that we are the brave sons of India and not Guru Granth Sahib Ji. He becomes the victim, and the rest of Punjab, of tanks, of bullets, of jet bombers, of mortar and gas. And then when they've had their wicked way with us, when they're tired of killing us, when they're tired of lobbing our bodies into the rivers, they start the faceless war. The intoxicants, the water, robbing the electricity, the fake babbe, female feticide, lack of industry, our Punjabi Munde leaving Punjab. And then when they see pockets of Sikhi, they bring back the guns. This is what I call cycles of massacre. And this is what the Indian establishment have perfected on us. Now we have two options. Two things can happen to Punjab actually. One, it can become that dirty back garden that nobody looks after. India is the house, the Indian Union is the house where all the families are living quite happily. But Punjab's that dirty back garden where no one mows the lawn, no one looks after it, it's just there. Or the way we're going now, everybody is leaving, and who's coming in? Paiye from Bihar, Hindus from Uttar Pradesh. The demographics of Punjab have changed and they're irreversible. Sikhs are now in a complete minority. So what happens? Suddenly, by some miracle, the state has some solution to cancerous water. It has a solution to intoxicants. Let's get the intoxicants out. It has a solution to feticide, female feticide. Why? There's no Sikhs left. Let's now look after Punjabi Hindu state. And this is really alarming, and it is alarming, and many people try and suppress this. And there's people who don't want to hear this. But we need to realize we can't afford to act as if Punjab is peaceful. We can't afford to act as if all we're doing is commemorating and never forgetting. Believe you me, we are in a state of war. We are in a war. Our mother Punjab is on her knees. And she's calling all of you. Because we can go back and do something. We can take care of our own parents. I had some relatives come over, illegal immigrants, as you say. I call them international bande. They came over, and I was speaking to them, and I was talking to them about massacres. They had no clue. They're older than me. They had no clue. They knew Sade naal takka hoya. That's all they knew. Sade naal takka hoya, like we've been pushed. But they didn't know that there was an actual genocide that had taken place. So I started showing them pictures on websites and on YouTube of just dead bodies. They were absolutely shocked. How can we, all this time, all our life, we thought we were Indian? How can we be Indian when we've seen these bodies of our brothers and sisters? They don't even know. Guys like you guys, you're studying medicine, you're studying law. We can go back and talk to them about cancerous water. Why is there arsenic in your water? Why are you using pesticides on your crops? Set up health clinics. There's at least 4 pharmacies in each village, main villages, where you can get synthetic drugs, but there's no health clinics. We need to go back home and take care of our parents, because I swear we will lose Punjab, and when we lose Punjab, our next generation is going to ask us, what did